A major corporate power story, a major lobbying story, a major crony capitalism story that I must talk about today. Late last week, the Senate voted to get rid of privacy rules requiring internet service providers to ask you for permission before they can sell or share your web browsing history with advertisers and other companies. This was a rule established during the Obama presidency in October of last year. At the time, the FCC was controlled by Democrats. It has been undone, and your internet service provider is now one step closer to being able to do whatever the hell they want with your private information. And this information would be hugely valuable to advertisers. It would let them see more about your social life, your buying habits, probably figure out all sorts of stuff, including your home address, places you've been, endless data. Now, this is actually the surprising part because I've said it before, there are huge differences between Republicans and Democrats on many issues, but on many issues involving corporations and corporate power, the parties are almost identical. The Senate vote was almost completely down party lines. All Democrats voted against it, and all Republicans voted for it, other than the two Republicans who didn't vote at all. This was part of all of the congressional review acts that Congress has been enacting lately, where they've been able to do away with many Obama-era policies. They've also prevented privacy rules from being reinstated in the future. Now, Republicans are framing this as, hey, we're trying to curb overbearing regulations on communications companies. Was it really overbearing to allow consumers to have some reasonable privacy when they were using the internet? Senator Ed Markey from here in Massachusetts said about this, quote, President Trump may be outraged by fake violations of his own privacy, but every American should be alarmed by the very real violation of privacy that will result from the Republican rollback of broadband privacy protections. Now, this does still need to pass the House until it's officially made law. And then, of course, Donald Trump would also have to sign it. But the point is, it's not too late to call your elected officials on this. This is an obvious, disgusting intrusion into our privacy. And it's a classic example, Pat, of conservatives are blindly going with the abandonment of any regulation. And they push it under the idea of, oh, we're small government. We're talking about just basic people's privacy here. And this is a handout for ISPs to make even more money. They're already gouging you on price and providing subpar service. Now, on top of it, they're going to be able to make more money by selling your browsing history to advertisers.
And I'm sure if you polled the American public on that, they would be in wide support of keeping the Obama-era regulation.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, right?
As long as some of them, you wouldn't want to tell them that it was an Obama regulation. You would just say, are you in favor of this rule? And overwhelmingly, people would say, absolutely, my browsing history shouldn't be sold.
But who would be in favor of this? The ISPs, the internet service providers, companies like Verizon, AT&T, Comcast. And those are the people that not only fund the campaigns for these congressmen and senators, but also fund media outlets like MSNBC and Fox News and the rest of the cable outlets.
It's the whole corporate media industrial complex and everything that I've been telling you about for years. And how could a single Republican not vote against this? You have to wonder what kind of money changed hands here, what kind of promises were made behind the scenes for this to pass. There are people online saying if the resolution passes, we should create a GoFundMe page so that we could buy the internet browsing histories of the senators who voted for this. I don't know that it'll exactly work like that, but the good news is there are many groups working on these issues, the ACLU, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, our friends over at Free Press who are actually fighting to keep these rules in place. So there are good groups doing work on exactly this issue.
I think it really is one of those issues where if you call your representative, they'll actually respond because they may think they can get away with it if it doesn't get media attention. But if you show that actually people are paying attention to this, they may change their mind.
This is like the whole SOPA PIPA situation from a couple years back. Absolutely call your elected officials on this one and send me your thoughts about this on Twitter. I'm on Twitter at Pakman. The show is on Twitter at David Pakman Show.